There are millions of uninsured drivers driving around our country right now. It's unavoidable. If you get hit by an uninsured driver, can you file a lawsuit against them to recover for your damages? Sure you can, but is it worth it? Watch this video to find out more. Hi, Barry here with the LawFull channel. On this channel, you're going to find short videos on the legal topics that affect our lives. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. And if you have any questions or comments on any legal issues or matters, feel free to reach out to me. If I can't help you, I'll find someone who can. According to the Insurance Information Institute, around 13% of all drivers driving on the road are uninsured. There are around 220 million licensed drivers in the United States. That means there are around 28 million uninsured drivers driving in our country. 28 million. That's a huge number, and it's a little bit hard to digest. So I looked at my home state, the state of Illinois, and here we have around 8.5 million licensed drivers. That means about 1.1 million people in the state of Illinois are driving around without auto insurance. So what does that mean for you? It means that every time you get in your car, you are at risk for getting hit by somebody who does not have any auto insurance. By the way, are you wondering what state has the highest level of uninsured drivers? According to a CBS News story I watched, it's Florida. In Florida, around 27% of all drivers are uninsured. That's over 1 in 4. So the next time you're driving around in Florida, look around. Of the 4 cars that are around you, one of them doesn't have an insurance. That's a huge number and a little bit hard to fathom. So the question of the day is, if you do get hit by an uninsured driver, can you sue them? Well, the quick answer is sure. You can sue anybody for just about anything. But the question is it really worth it? You can file a lawsuit for compensation and to recover for your damages. But if somebody doesn't have auto insurance, it's very likely they don't have the assets or financial resources to compensate you for your injuries. So if you are involved in an accident and the driver tells you that they don't have any insurance, the first thing you do is you don't just take their word for it. Take down their license plate number, their driver's license number, get all their contact information, and provide that to your insurance company, because your insurance company likely has the resources to go onto the internet or onto their software and determine if this person really is uninsured. A second scenario where this often happens is that somebody had auto insurance, but it lapsed. They forgot to pay their bill, it got lost in the mail, whatever it is. If that's the case, don't just take the insurance company's word for it that the policy of the guy who hit you lapsed. Make them document it in writing. And frankly, if you have uninsured motorist coverage, you're going to have to provide that documentation and that proof to your insurance company to get them to pick up the bill anyways. So you have determined that the driver who hit you does not have any auto insurance. What do you do? Well, there are a couple situations where I have advised many people to go ahead and file a lawsuit against the uninsured driver. The first situation occurs when both parties to the accident, you and the other driver, are both uninsured. If you're confident that you are not at fault for the accident, there is no harm in you filing a lawsuit in small claims court. Now, most jurisdictions have a small claims court. It's where these minor accidents go to be adjudicated. In Illinois, for example, if your case is worth less than $10,000, you can file a claim in small claims court. This is exactly what small claims court is meant for. Minor cases that can be resolved between people in front of a judge. So you file your suit in small claims court. It'll cost you a couple of $100s to file your lawsuit, and it'll cost you some additional money to have your lawsuit served or delivered to the defendant or the person who caused the accident. The likelihood of recovering is 50-50, right? The judge is either going to fine for you or not. The real challenge is not in establishing liability or responsibility for the accident. The real challenge is actually recovering after a judgment is entered in your favor. The other type of claims that I often advise people to go ahead and file a lawsuit in small claims court on involve minor accidents, usually involving primarily property damage. And what happens is the innocent party or the victim gets hit, and the innocent party has liability insurance, meaning they're covered if they cause the accident, and they may even have uninsured motorist, but they don't have something called collision coverage, meaning the other driver didn't have insurance and you don't have insurance on your policy to pay for your property damage. In that case, it makes sense to file suit. Maybe you've only got a couple $1,000s in damage, and filing suit against a defendant will spur them to compensating you or paying you for your damages. A couple of suggestions. Before you file your lawsuit, get your ducks in a row. Obtain the estimates to repair your car or have the receipts for the repairs that were already made. And obtain your medical records and your medical bills from your providers if there were any. A judge is not going to compensate you for your damages just based on your word. You have to have evidence to support your claims. If you do decide to file a lawsuit in small claims court, do a little homework. The rules of evidence in small claims court are very laxed. Just the evidence of your bills and receipts are going to be enough for the judge. But if you don't know the process and how things work, you're going to struggle in front of the judge, and you want to be completely prepared for your hearing. Okay, so we have determined that you can in fact file a lawsuit against an uninsured driver. But that's really a last resort. What can you do to prevent this situation altogether? And prevent, I don't mean avoid getting hit. What I mean is, how do you protect yourself before the accident even happens? And by that, I'm referring to having enough of the right type of insurance. I'm specifically talking about uninsured motorist coverage, underinsured motorist coverage, and collision coverage. Every state has their own rules about how much insurance you have to have, and every insurance company offers a different solution. So do your research. In Illinois, for example, our state requires a minimum of $25,000 in insurance, which means you're protected up to $25,000 if you hit somebody else. In addition, you automatically have $25,000 in uninsured and underinsured motorist protection, though it doesn't mean that you have collision coverage. Your state may have different requirements. By the way, if the other driver is uninsured and you are forced to file a claim against your uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage, be aware that your insurance company immediately becomes adverse, just as though you were filing a claim against a defendant's auto insurance policy. So how much uninsured motorist coverage should you get? People always tell me, well, I have full coverage, but what does that mean? I always recommend that people get at least $100,000 in uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. If you get involved in a bad accident, then having a $25,000 insurance policy is not going to help you very much. That $25,000 could be gone before you even get out of the hospital. Okay, it's time for your take on the law. Were you involved in an accident with an uninsured driver? What did you do? Did you file a lawsuit against the driver, or did you file a claim against your own uninsured motorist coverage? Tell us about it in the comments below. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. For more legal videos on topics like this, please consider subscribing to our channel. And if you have any questions or comments, reach out to me. If I can't help you, I'll find someone who can.